Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to RBN Hardware. In today's video, I want to be showing you guys how to build this budget $1,100 gaming PC build ready for 2022. And once again, we're aiming for the maximum value for money, and I am specifically picking PC parts you should be able to find in stock at the best bang for your money. Now I'm gonna show you guys step by step how to build this affordable gaming system from start to finish, all the component choices and all the good stuff. And yeah, to give you an idea how this PC build performs, I've tested over 40 games for you guys in both 1080p as well as 1440p, including titles like Forza Horizon 5, Halo Infinite, Battlefield 2042, Warzone, and of course some of you guys' favorites like Fortnite, Apex Legends and so forth. For best pricing of each PC part, have a look in the description where you find everything listed. So with that said, let's dive into the building process and let's start our PC build journey as usual with the motherboard, SSD, RAM and CPU. So let's start with our processor, and for this build I've selected the 6-core $199 Ryzen 5 3600, perhaps one of the best cheap 6-core CPU and heatsink combo currently available on the market. Now taking a look at the gaming CPU performance, as we can see, the 3600 delivers high frame rate across the board thanks to its decent amount of cache, core count and clock speed. Now in order to unleash the full sort of power of the 3600, it is important that we pair up the CPU with the RAM kit to fully take advantage of everything that the CPU has to offer. But yeah, more on that in a second. Anyway, for $200 the 3600 is a good buy, and anything above that is a no buy in my book. And so as an option, if you cannot seem to find the 3600 at MSRP, I recommend having a look at the 1600AF as a secondary option. The 1600AF is more or less a rebranded 6-core Ryzen 5 2600, currently selling for around $150, and this is definitely one to consider as well. So let's move on to the motherboard, and this is the component that sort of basically glues everything together. This is one area where you can save quite a bit of money actually without losing any performance, and as you guys may have noticed, this is what we are aiming for and what we are striving for on this channel, to always deliver PC builds offering the best bang for your buck. And so with that in mind, I got two very solid options for you guys. You either pick up this B450 board from Gigabyte, which is packed with everything you need and support for Ryzen 5000 through a free BIOS update, or you can pick up this full-size ATX board from Asus, which is the board that I'm demonstrating on today. So with the motherboard unboxed, let's open up our CPU box and install our processor. And you want to pair up the triangle located at the lower left side corner of the CPU with the triangle on the motherboard socket, and pull back the retention arm, line up the triangles and simply drop the CPU in its socket. Returning the metal arm back down again will lock the CPU in place. Now, as we briefly discussed at the beginning, to keep the cost down, we are gonna use the included stock cooler that comes included with our CPU. And if we look at the temperatures, we see that the CPU is running nice and cool, and so very nice to see. So installing the heatsink is quite easy. Look for the 4 pre-installed screw holes around the motherboard socket. These we want to match up with the 4 spring screws on the cooler. You want to make sure that the AMD logo is facing the heatsink, then screwing each corner down in a cross pattern, something like so. Then plug in the CPU fan cable, and we are one step closer to being finished. Now, if you are getting any value out of this video guys, please smash the like button, subscribe, turn on the notifications bell so that you know exactly when new content is released. Next up, we gotta move on to the system RAM, and here it is important that we do select a kit that is fast enough so that we do get the full power out of our CPU. This is the kit that I'm recommending. Simply find the 2nd and the 4th DIMM slot and make sure that the Corsair logo is facing the cooler. Now before we go ahead and take a look at our beautiful case choice, let's quickly first install our storage. The 980 SSD from Samsung coming in at $50 is a monster and a no-brainer for today's PC build. This is half a terabyte and this is enough to fit a few games. However, you can always pop in a 1 terabyte unit if you do want to as well, of course. With that out of the way, we can finally move on to our case choice. This is the NZXT H510 Elite, a minimalistic RGB monster coming in at around $160. This is unfortunately not the most budget-friendly case around. That being said, NZXT is selling several models based on the H510 lineup, like the H510 for example, which got the same robust frame and build quality, but at basically half the cost. Let's look at the difference here. So what makes the Elite more expensive is first and foremost its extra RGB fans, the LED strip as well as the smart hub that lets you customize fan speed and set RGB patterns, etc. Let's go ahead and get rid of the side panel before we go ahead and install our motherboard. We find 8 screw holes here. There are 3 holes at the top, 2 at the middle and 3 at the bottom. Grab the power supply, make sure the fan is facing down so that it can suck fresh air from the bottom, and a step-by-step cable management guide is linked up down below. And once every cable has been hooked up to the motherboard, we can finally take a look at our GPU choice. This is the Radeon RX 6600 from Team Red, built on AMD's latest RDNA 2 architecture with support for the latest standards like DX12 and ray tracing. Now, the card is mainly built to be the ultimate 1080p GPU, but as we are about to witness in just a second, the gaming performance in 1440p medium settings is very compelling as well. Now, in order to get a great sense of what the GPU is capable of, I got over 40 games tested. Now, as we can see, again, this is a 1080p monster, so high to very high settings will have you sitting at around 60 FPS in most titles, even in more recent titles like Halo Infinite, as can be seen. Forza Horizon 5 also delivers respectable framerate at 1080p high settings. Doom Eternal, another game, runs great at very high graphics. Age of Empires 4 at 1080p high settings runs great, as well as Warzone, no problem for this GPU. However, games such as Battlefield 2042 and Control, who both offers rich ray tracing features, does run a little bit choppy on the 6600. Now, after investigating the ray tracing performance a bit with this GPU, I do recommend actually turning this feature off for the best possible frame rate. This is a little bit of a shame, but AMD might be able to fix this with an AI upscaler like Nvidia's DLSS technology later down the road. Now, buying a GPU right now is almost impossible, as you guys probably witnessed by now, and the never-ending GPU shortage is unfortunately not over. Now, I was able to snag this GPU for $330, which is the MSRP. Right now, however, the number has doubled, and if we take a deeper look at the pricing, we can see that it does seem like the prices is starting to actually go down. Just a few weeks ago, the card here was listed for over $1,000. With that all being said, guys, I'm gonna do my best here to link up the best deal I can find for you down in the description. If you want to pick up a brand new GPU without breaking the bank, I recommend having a look at the 1650 Super or the 1660, which you do find linked up down below. Now, with that said, here's what the final part list is looking like, and you find all PC parts listed down below. Now, this video took a lot of time to complete, a lot of testing here, so if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like or a dislike, subscribe to never miss any of my future gaming PC builds. And with that said, guys, I want to thank you so much for sticking around this long. Have a nice day.